India should be a food superpower, but we aren't.
It's never easy to start a company.
But if we succeed big. Great companies are not built by founders alone. We are also building a product to serve the anxieties of the farmers.
Welcome to Climate Hero Podcast. I am your host, Sunny. Today we have a very special guest, Shailendra Tiwari. That's your last name, right? The founder and CEO of Fasal, an innovative agri-tech company transforming precision agriculture in India and South Asia. Shailendra's journey as an entrepreneur has been recognized by Forbes Under 30 Asia, and he is here to share his insights into the world of agri-tech, sustainability, and future of farming. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Sunny. I'm very, very happy to be here, and I look forward to our conversation.
Shailendra Fasal is revolutionizing farming through technology like IoT and AI. Can you share with us a little bit about how these technologies are transforming the traditional farming methods in South Asia and India?
Certainly, Sunny. So when we started this company, we wanted to develop a technology that would provide farmers way of making precise decisions basis their crop, the stage of the crop in their farmland. Keeping all these three in mind, we did try a lot of other technologies. So in that year, we tried drones. From a data collection point of view, we realized that we will need regular farm data if we make precise farm level decisions. We realized the challenge with drones then was the fact that you have to fly them. So unless you figure out a way of flying them regularly on the farms, which meant building a business that was very operational. So we gave up on that. We tried with satellite imagery as well. There are parts of satellite imagery that we do use, but then what we realized was it's not very frequent. And at least then the resolution of images was also an issue. But IoT was unique in the way that if you place a robust device on the farm today, may continue working for the next 4 or 5 years, maybe 6, 7 years as well, without much operational needs. So we realized that building a robust hardware would allow us to collect data without building operational elements on the business. So that's how we landed, and we needed very frequent data. We realized to get a very specific kind of intelligence for the farms, we needed very frequent data. And so we landed upon IoT, where you can place an array of sensors. They are constantly sending you data from the farms. They are smart enough that they can be built in a manner that can take care of the challenges of the farms. They are robust enough that they can survive for long, and they don't need us. That's how we ended up on IoT.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I can resonate to that. A year ago when I did a carbon credit project on alternate wet and dry farming, we at first used drones, and we realized that there's a lot of issues involved, not just cost, but operation in general. And then we opt to working with a satellite company to collect the data of the farms. So that was really helpful. And that's really fascinating what you're building. And how has your approach benefited the local farmers in India and South Asia in general? Can you share like some successful stories for the listeners?
Certainly, Sunny. So I'd like to paint a picture of India as a country, agriculture economy for your listeners.
Mm-hmm.
Now, India has about 156 million hectares of farmland. This is more farmland than 165 out of 196 legally recognized countries, if I remember that number well.
Yeah.
It is also just a little bit below the US. So we have significantly large landholding, arable landholding. At any point in time, India has all the seasons. So I am sitting in Bangalore at 24. In the extreme northern parts of the country, you might have temperatures going to -5, -10, -20. At the same, you can go a little bit more south and you'll find temperatures in the tune of 30s. We have all kinds of soil, we have all kinds of climate. And in that way, India should be a food superpower. But we aren't. The reason that we identified at the farm level was our farmers make decisions basis inherited knowledge from their forefathers. That inherited knowledge gets passed in form of practices. The practices were developed in a certain context, so they may or may not be fully applicable to their current context. But we realized that if we could build something that in material of the farmer's location, their education, their crop or variety, would still enable them to make right decisions on the farm that could impact significantly. That could
Mhm.
impact in their cost of cultivation, that could impact in their quality of
Yeah.
output, that could impact in their quantity of output. And if you do it in a digitally scalable manner, you would
Mm.
also create data structures that can flow to the right stakeholders in the value chain, like a river. And that's what we built. We started commercialization in the year 2021, and before that we continued focusing on R&D and running some
N&D.
pilots. But as a result of this technology, Sunny, and we are now active on individual farmers who together hold more than 150,000 acres of farmland. We also
Mm.
work with a lot of enterprises in India and Southeast Asia. Their land parcel is additional. The hardware, the IoT that you are talking about, we have deployed more than 10,000 of them now across India and Southeast Asia.
Mhm.
As a result of it, we see three things happening. Our
Mm.
farmers spend lesser money. So the cost of cultivation decreases anywhere between 10% to 50%.
Mm.
We have also seen outlier case studies where people have reduced their cost of cultivation by practically half.
Mm.
The productivity improves anywhere between, we've also seen 7% improvement in productivity till 300% improvement in the productivity.
Wow, that's amazing.
Correct. And generally, I see that more as a function of inefficiencies on the farm
Yeah.
rather than the miracle of the technology in itself.
Mm.
But generally, an average farmer improves his productivity anywhere between 10 to 25%,
Mhm.
basis whether he's growing a tree crop or a vegetable crop or whatnot.
Yeah.
And we've seen improvements in quality. So the lycopene in chili is better. The punch size of grapes is better. The berry size of grape is better. Uh,
Mm.
the banana bunches are more robust. Variety of things. And in general, one of the numbers I want to highlight, given we are talking about climate,
Mm.
is one of our investors also do their own assessment through third parties in terms of our impact
Yeah.
between the year 21 and 23. And you know these numbers very well. We
Mhm.
climb a lot on these numbers. But on our farms, our farmers saved 83 billion liters of water. They
Mm.
all saved 156,000 kilograms of pesticides.
Yep.
They also 56,000 metric tons of GHG emission. And we are
Mhm.
still calculating the numbers for the previous 2 years. But what I find the most fascinating is I have always felt that if you look at India and Southeast Asia, right, we are in total about 35% of global horticulture productivity.
Mhm.
My calculation tells me that if we can be at our rightful place in terms of quality of production,
Mm.
within this region, we have enough land, enough farmers, and enough natural resources that we can grow for the world. And what I've
Yeah.
seen is farmers growing significantly higher, better, and they've been able to access avenues of export. They've been able to get connected to modern trade. They've
Mm.
been able to work with companies directly who are doing processing because
Mm.
of quality and quantity that they are growing.
Yeah, that's amazing. I think it's great to see the impact that you've been creating in the farming sector in India. And from what you share, I understand that you started Commercial Eye only a few years ago, but you started the company back in 2018, right? And I imagine it's never easy to start a company. What inspired you originally to venture into agri-tech space? And what was your initial vision for Fazel?
Certainly. So, Sunny, my own educational background is I studied production.
Mhm.
Never in my wildest dreams I had thought about becoming an entrepreneur.
Mm.
Never in my wildest dreams I had thought of AgTech.
Mhm.
I think a lot of credit goes to my co-founder who seeded the idea that we should do something like this.
Yeah.
Now, what convinced me was this, like, I am generally a big believer of people here. I
Mm.
really feel that as a civilization, we have a lot to offer and we must work hard, build technologies, build whatever is needed to find our rightful place in the world. When I realized that India has so much arable land, and in fact, I'll give you some contrasting numbers as well. In year 2016-17, India's exports of fruits and vegetables was $432 billion.
Mhm.
The Netherlands, which has 156 times lesser farmland than India does,
Yeah.
exported just tomatoes worth $1.4 billion in that year.
Mhm.
And it is very impressive, like for a country that has so much lesser land as compared to India,
Mm.
they have found a way and made it work for them in extraordinary
Mm.
ways.
Mhm,
And
mhm.
it was very inspiring. Like, and what I felt was, I did some calculations, Sunny. Like, if you take their productivity levels and multiply it with, let's say, the Indian available land for agriculture, you suddenly realize that if we would have their game, if we would be as efficient, smart, and technically sound as they are alone can grow enough produce for the world.
Yeah.
And then that's such a blessing. Like, that is an ambition worth pursuing. So if you can build something which could enable farmers to reach there,
Mhm.
that in itself is a supremely big motivation. And also the
Yeah.
fact that, you could get an opportunity to work with a section of society, where you feel a lot of potential is trapped.
Yeah.
I was sold on the idea because I felt like I got an opportunity to work on a very big problem statement. It's a problem statement which, if you can build and scale, you will fundamentally change the shape of your country,
Mhm, mhm. Yeah.
of your people.
Yeah.
And that was very, very inspiring. That was very motivating. I
Yeah.
had some savings in my account, and I said, in the very worst scenario, we will fail and I will find a job again and somebody will with me. And I have enough savings, and my family can also lend me some more money that I can survive for the next 6 months. If I save enough, then probably a year.
Mm,
But if we succeed big.
mm.
So, very basic motivation, but very powerful in the way that I was just so excited to be a part of something that could potentially change the way the country lives and the country operates and serves.
Yeah. Wow. That's a really great vision. And thanks for sharing that. And when you started, I imagine it's very hard to convince farmer to try the new technology. I don't know how it was for you, but for me, when I tried to tell farmers in Vietnam to change from their traditional way of growing rice to alternate wet and dry, it was very challenging. And I wonder how was your journey in terms of um, convincing farmers to trust the technology and work with you?
I think that's a great question, and I really want to take a moment and talk about this.
Mm,
See, generally, what I've seen and what I talk about so fiercely is farmers are considered a homogeneous unit, that they look a certain way, all of them, they behave a certain way, all of them, their
yeah,
PNL looks in a certain way, all of them. But that's not true. If you look at India, India has about 156 million hectares. You
yeah.
have close to 35 million hectares worth of horticulture where our farmers are growing fruits, vegetables, Asian crops, and spices. Then, of course, we are growing other crops like rice, which is almost 44 million hectares, if I remember the number well, and I can go on. Farmer growing rice behaves very differently than, let's say, a farmer growing coffee in Vietnam.
Mhm.
Similarly, a farmer growing wheat in India behaves very differently than a farmer growing apple in India.
Yeah.
So the farmers' behaviors are very different basis what crops they are growing.
Mhm.
A small apple farmer who has maybe 2 acres would behave very differently than a paddy farmer who's growing on 20 acres.
Mhm.
Now, we felt the first segment that we should cater to was the segment of horticulture farmers,
Yeah.
because these crops have different PNL, so the cost of cultivation is significantly higher. These crops reward you for better quality and better quantity because the market pays you differently.
Mhm.
These crops are also knowledge intensive, so you cannot leave them to be. You have to constantly attend to the crop. You have
Mhm.
to learn about the crop. And the
Yeah.
more you know about the depth of, let's say, agronomy and other aspects of crop science, the better you can get out of the plant.
Mm.
So we did not go to the paddy farmers because we realized that their behaviors may not be best suitable for what we were trying to do then.
Okay.
But we went to these kind of farmers, the progressive horticulture farmers.
Uh.
Now, they had the ambition that they wanted to grow more. They had the ambition that they want to grow better quality because the market already rewards them. They were looking for ways in which they can do it. And so, though people did look at us from a point of view that we are going to test you guys what you are doing, but we did meet a lot of farmers, and I'm very grateful to them. Like, if they were not there, this business wouldn't have been here. We had
Mm.
a bunch of farmers during this process who really built this company in a way that they said, come and do pilots with us. We will test the product. We will tell you how did it impact our lives. People were ready to fail. People
Mm.
were ready to sacrifice some of their land in pursuit of progress,
Wow.
output from some of their land. So I think this company is, in a way, honestly, like, I mean, would we be here if we were working with different kind of farmers than the kind of farmers that we ran pilots with? I don't think so.
Mhm. Yep.
And so we started working with them. They tested the product. They told us what to improve. We
Yeah.
followed them as their students. We did what they said was right. And in this
Yeah.
process, we also started learning a lot.
Mhm.
When we launched the product, actually, Sunny, commercially, these people were already selling the product for us. They were
Mm,
already talking about good things, what they have seen, and they were not talking about it in the way that we have invented some magic machine.
yeah.
We were talking about it in the way that it how to practically use it and get benefit and where to be cautious, and that really helped.
Okay, got it. Wow. I think any feedback from current users and customers is always like great marketing for any business.
That is correct. I think we still continue to sell like 30-40% of our revenue gets generated by word of mouth. And I also realized that agriculture is not a business that you can scale through ads. It is a business that gets scaled through trust. So
Trust. Yep.
the more you continue to be in the market and
Mm-hmm.
season after season, you prove your worth and you prove that you can produce the same results.
Yeah.
I think then the market starts rewarding you. And I mean, if you're doing right on the farms, if you're looking to work with farmers, I mean, they also put you in a position that you may be irreplaceable to.
Yeah. That is really great. And then besides that, what are the challenges that you have encountered since founding the company and growing it?
I think numerous. Some of the things that come to your top of the mind is the product in itself. I think
Yeah.
we are not just building a product to serve the crop. We are also building a product to serve the anxieties of the farmers.
Yep. Yep.
So how does it look? How does it feel? How does it talk?
Mm.
How does the interface look? How does the hardware look?
Yep.
You might have to solve some problems because people just feel that problem maybe, even though practically you know that that problem is never going to exist. So either you can choose to fight them saying that this is never going to happen, or you can build it and give them the confidence. We had a lot of hardware issues. Like in the first season, we had deployed like 400 devices, and I remember it so well that one day in the morning none of them were working.
Mm.
Then there was issues with the sensors, issues with the algorithms.
Yep.
Also, like, this is a product where you need to deploy it in a certain way, maintain it in a certain way. So in the beginning, our people would make mistakes which farmers would correct.
Mm.
I think we are building a company for the first time.
Yeah.
At this scale now, we are working with farmers at this scale for the first time. We are building a product like this for the first time. So every day practically is a new day. Like,
Yeah.
this company has never been in this same form on this day. Challenges with, let's say, capital raising, challenges with telling them. So think about it, Sunny, like in 2018, if we would have gone and told it to venture capitalists that we are looking to sell IoT devices to farmers, what would their response be? And you could also look at it the other way around. Like, think about going and selling IoT devices to farmers in 2018.
Yeah. It's tough.
Very, very. And
Yeah.
but I can definitely say this, that as time has unfolded, things have become easier. The farmers have been kinder generally. The product has seen uptake. The ecosystem has grown. Investors, investment community is far more educated. They understand the nuances of agriculture. They don't look at all the farmers in the same way. The
Mm.
governments have grown in their understanding of these kind of technologies. So in general, I think today is a better day than 2018 when we started this company. And at times you could also feel like how difficult, how extraordinarily difficult this all is. On certain days, I mean, you feel like, why are you doing this? And then you go back to your natural state of inspiration. Why did you start this off? And that still continues to hold, but in a lot of mistakes. Like, I mean, honestly, I will have to think for a moment to find an area where we might have not made a mistake.
Like, yeah, I work in the startup as well. And I understand what you're talking about. A lot of changes every day, and every day is a new day. But I really enjoy the journey. I think when you know that you are making positive impact and yeah, it's keep you going. So as a CEO of a fast growing startup, what kind of leadership style have you developed?
I think that's a very, very good question. I believe in the journey of running this company. I've also known about myself.
Yeah.
And I also think I would have not known myself in the ways that I know myself just because of the fact that I get an opportunity to run this company.
Yeah.
Generally, my natural state is a state of ambition, Sunny. I feel I'm very ambitious and I feel there is a lot to do. There is a lot that needs to be done. So I'm always in hurry.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have also realized that great companies are not built by founders alone, but they are built by people. So I think I might have developed a lot more patience with people than I had.
Mm-hmm.
I have also grown to believe that whether you hire an intern or you hire a CEO,
Yeah.
you don't know who's going to change the fate of your company.
Yeah.
So I believe in people. I have had the opportunity of working with very young people who have told me things that I've never realized. And I've
Mm.
also had the privilege of working with people on the other side of spectrum
Yeah.
who have told me things that I've never realized. And so in general, I think I might have a lot more deeper appreciation of people,
Yeah.
tolerance for areas where they may not be good at,
Yeah.
extreme amount of joy in observing people in areas where they are good at. I want to work with inspiring people. So I'm always looking to meet somebody. I always think of it in this way that probably to do some very great things, all you need is 10 equally inspiring people.
Yeah.
And so I'm always on that lookout of who are those 10 people for me. I
Uh-huh.
try and do whatever I can to empower our people,
Mm-hmm.
keep them motivated,
Yeah.
remind them of why we started and why we are still doing this.
Yeah.
And what I really, really, really care about is I want to enjoy life.
Mm-hmm.
I want to enjoy every day as much as possible. I want every day to be a day where we change the world. And I
Mm.
mean it in literal senses.
Yeah.
And I am trying to optimize my leadership
Yeah.
to align with these things that I care about.
Yeah. That makes sense. And thanks for sharing that. I think I have a lot to learn from when I build my own team at Aquila as well. I think it's so important um to be caring to people, believe in people, and motivate people. The same for me. I've been growing a lot of patience for others as well. And I think it's a long journey. I still work on it every day. I've been meditating for like 5 years now. And every day when I still encounter things that I was like, oh man, I thought meditation that many years will help me, but no, I still lose patience. So, yeah, unless you live in the mountain as a monk, I think it helped. But when you're in a business and a startup and there's a lot of changes every day, yeah, I really admire the approach that you're taking. So, for the final question, let's talk about future a little bit. How do you see agri-tech contributing to sustainable farming practices, especially in the face of climate challenges like water scarcity or pesticide usage?
I think, Sunny, the world that we live in is a world where every farm must address these issues. Every farm must deal with the issue that there is not enough water than there was five,
Yeah,
10 years ago.
yeah,
Farmers and the ecosystem must realize that we serve consumers who demand accountability of what we are taking them through the supply chain. And in general, I think the world is far more aware than it was 30 years ago, more demanding than it was 30 years ago.
yeah.
I believe if my data is right, I may be wrong, but I definitely believe that the average per capita income of the world right now is $10,000, north of $10,000. Again, that shifts behavior. I was trying to do a calculation yesterday of what will be the world per capita by 2050. And I realized it
50.
was somewhere. Correct. It was around $20,000. And I mean, the moment you realize that $20,000 will bring in different kind of consumers who will want good produce,
Mm-hmm.
traceable produce, who will want to eat healthy.
Mm,
So, as an ecosystem, we have no other way but to meet this demand.
yeah, yeah.
And thereby, every farmer or every farm must become an entity which is also conscious. Not just because we talk of climate, but because the farms require it and the consumers require it.
Mm-hmm.
And thereby, my general sense is technologies like the ones that we are working on must scale. So it's not a question of whether they will scale. The question now is they must scale, and how we are going to, let's say, take it to twice the number of farmers or farms every year than all the previous years built together. So I definitely, from a pure play first principles perspective, there is a demand that needs to be met.
Yes.
Now, the ecosystem around us is also coming together. The governments are more conscious. The policy is more cognizant of the fact that these kind of technologies are needed. So I definitely believe there will be a lot of scaling.
Mm-hmm.
You can also indulge in an intellectual exercise of thinking about how the farms will look like, what will be inherent to farms 30 years down the line. But if I draw that picture, I definitely feel precision agriculture, carbon, automation technologies, digitization, these will become the defaults of the farms. There is no doubt in my mind.
Yeah, that is right. And it's not only for farmers in India, but like globally, I can see that that is the trend in South Asia. When I work with farmers for our previous projects, I see the same. And I just want to say thank you so much for your time, for joining us. And before we wrap up, I'd like to ask you a question. What advice would you give to young entrepreneurs interested in starting their own ventures, particularly in the agri-tech sector?
Honestly, I'm still learning, so my advice should be taken with a pinch of salt. But I think what worked for us, Sunny, was the fact that we did not buy into the commonly accepted narrative of agriculture.
Mm-hmm.
And we did a lot of our own research to understand who the farmer is,
Yeah.
what are their fears, what are their aspirations, what are their problem statements. We genuinely put in efforts to validate those problem statements, run pilots. You could also say that we took the risk of starting this company. But we did it from a pure play first principles point of view rather than listening to the facts. So, even if I would have been on the other side, I would not recommend any entrepreneur to go and start an IoT oriented business in agriculture in 2018, if I'm being very, very honest with myself.
Mm.
But I think what will give you courage is your own first principles research and understanding of the market. And once you've reached a stage where you have developed your thoughts, don't be scared. Follow your path. You may fail, you may succeed, you never know, nobody can guess. But if you find yourself in a position where you think differently than everybody in the world, believe in yourself.
I agree. So courage and believe in yourself. Thank you
Yep.
so much, Shailendra. It's been a pleasure having you on the show. We are very excited to see Fasal's continued success and the impact that you will have on the future of agriculture. And to our listeners, thank you for tuning in. Until next time, stay inspired, stay sustainable. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sunny.